My name's David Bateman. I'm with Playa Lake Farm and Ranch. Playa Lake Farm and Ranch is a collection of properties in the South Plains of Texas that have playa lakes on them. We're at what we call the tree farm right now, and this place has been in the Conservation Reserve program for about the past 20 years. You can see very lush grass. We can hear bobwhite quail behind us. Just saw some mule deer. So this is like what you would like a Playa Lake property to look like. One that we were at this morning used to be furrow water farmed or row water farmed, and the whole 160 acres was totally farmed through. And what we did was enhance the farming where it made sense, which was only about 67 acres, and we turned the rest back to grass and reestablished native vegetation. One of the things that's helped me with my Playa Lake Farm and Ranch properties is working with the NRCS for technical guidance, programs, and other things that really help us try to maintain the land in the most conservative way possible.
My name's Ed Logan. I've been district conservationist here in Crosby County for the last 27 years. David is relatively a newer participant with us and was interested in the Playa Lake behind us, as well as addressing wind and water erosion on the upland areas. So we looked at the EQIP program to establish permanent grasses on the upland areas and just try to leave our wetland as it was. He also has a couple of areas that are established in micro irrigation or drip irrigation. Those areas used to be furrow irrigated, and now they're established in drip irrigation.
My name is Jim Bob Clary. I've been working for the USDA and NRCS for 19 years now. I started working with David last year. He had come in, he had a farm that he had purchased in Floyd County, and on that farm it was a furrow watered farm. The resource concern that we were trying to address with that was the water quantity issues. With the declining water table, wanted to try to install a more efficient system. So what we did was we applied through the EQIP program to put in about 115 acres of drip irrigation. The biggest benefits of converting from row water to drip irrigation is of course the efficiency that you're using the water. You're using it to where you can really help your crop production, you can increase yields, but at the same time from a conservation standpoint, we're just using that water more efficiently.
One thing that's key to know about Playa Lakes is that they go through wet and dry cycles. You know, it's usually extreme one way or the other. And what we found that through these restoration and conservation practices, even in drought conditions, we still have nest places for birds to nest. Other wildlife still uses these places around our Playa Lakes, even though that some of the farming conditions aren't quite as in good a shape.
My name is Manuel DeLeon. I work for NRCS. I'm the zone biologist based out of Lubbock. Playas they're the most diverse species-rich areas that we have up here on top of the Cap Rock. They're unique in that they're really diverse with the vegetation, especially after we get rains and they fill up like this. We'll have smartweeds and spike rushes and other vegetation that are common to these playas. They provide an important wintering and migration ground for waterfowl, shorebirds like the American avocets we're seeing here. And so while they may not use the water per se, they definitely use the insects and everything else that's coming off of this vegetation.
We're also seeing lots of mule deer in this part of the county. They've continued to grow in their population. We have a little woodland area just off to the west of us here that they use for habitat, and I'm sure they're using this water source. The upland areas on playas, they're critical as far as the functionality of the playa. I kind of call it like a filter. It acts as a filter. So with the rainfall events we get, where before when it was cropland, all that silt would filter down into the lake. So now it's acting as a filter, catches those soils. And so the water quality that reaches our playa should be considerably better.
There's been a misconception of Playa Lakes among landowners in the past. Some people have viewed them as a burden and non-productive land. They've figured they'd be better off farming it or farming through it. And what we're starting to find is there's a natural balance between wildlife and water conservation and agricultural production. One of the things that we've seen with the Playa Lake Farm and Ranch model is if you restore the Playa Lakes back to their native condition, you can actually get a higher value from a recreational and wildlife standpoint than you would have otherwise from ag production. So what we're seeing is the best thing to do is to help reestablish that back to more of a native state around the Playa Lake, and then farm the areas that make the most sense to farm. And then, your overall farming operation will be more profitable and economical.